The views and opinions expressed by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's host, guests, and viewers. We are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of any sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers team in the hope that it'll be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 7 o'clock and time for On the Spot with David Rodgers. And now, here he is, Mr. Friday Night, the show pony himself, the man, the dream, the legendary David Rodgers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers, alongside Mitchell Gunner and Byron Bagwell. Great to have you along. Say hello, gentlemen.
Good evening, everyone.
All right. I didn't hear no infidels in there.
Well, in mistakes.
You can call them that anyway. Tonight's sponsored by On the Spot Lawn Maintenance. Let the red, white glue take care of your green. Call me at 904-966-1633. As we say that, the grass, ladies and gentlemen, is really wet. So if you're calling me up, I promise I'll give you a quote. Just don't know when I can get to it until the grass dries up and this rain quits happening. But our illustrious leader, Director Michael Heater, is going to let us know how that happens with the weather report.
Hey, with that being said, is the grass always greener on the other side of the fence?
Yes, it is. And by Harry Business in the Deerfoot Plaza, home of the $10 haircut. Let's get the show started as we always do with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quote of the week and night. Let us pray, ladies and gentlemen. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank again for a wonderful and glorious day you've given us, dear Lord. Thank you for this time that we get to spend with each other, dear Lord. The On the Spot crew with David Rodgers, the DOR, Byron, Mitchell, Michael, Dave, Austin, and everybody that's involved with the show, dear Lord, that you touch each and every one of these gentlemen. And you know what they need, dear Lord. You know their calling and their will. Just touch each and every one of them. Also, let us present all the information that we give out tonight, dear Lord, to our viewing audience. And our viewing audience takes that information and sees fit however they need to use it, dear Lord. Thank you for letting us live in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America. The most freest country, dear Lord. The most powerful nation in this world today. Thank you for letting us live here. Thank you for keeping your hedge of protection over us and over all of us against domestic and international terrorism and whatever else seems to come upon us, dear Lord. Thank you for our military, the greatest fighting forces in the world today, dear Lord. Those past and present, those that gave the ultimate sacrifice their lives, dear Lord. Also, the men and women that are serving in all of our armed forces, that you keep a hedge of protection over them as they're out there fighting for our rights and our freedoms, dear Lord. Thank you for our first responders, dear Lord. Not only here locally, but in our state and all around the United States and all around the world, dear Lord, as they are each and every day and night keeping us safe from whatever harm may come to us. Thank you for the truck drivers, the farmers, and the great Americans of this country that are willing to go out and work and make this country what it is today, dear Lord. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day. It goes to the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Thank you for just letting us be here, dear Lord. Any spoken or unspoken prayer requests, you touch each and every one of them, dear Lord. You're the ultimate healer, the ultimate comforter. You can touch each and every one of them. Again, thank you for this wonderful night, this wonderful day, the wonderful week that you're going to give us, dear Lord. And we ask for these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. And the congregation says,
Amen.
Amen. Let us stand for the pledge. I'm going to ask the Dragon Slayer himself to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Amen. Again, welcome in to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am your host, David Rodgers. Right here to my left, He is the Minister of Defense. He is the Byron Bagwell. Say hello, Byron.
Good evening, Patriots.
And in the back here, glad to have him back in the saddle. This guy has had a cameo appearance in the first Rocky movie. He actually sparred with Apollo Creed. He is the King of Sting, the Count of Monte Fisco, the Dancing Destroyer, the Prince of Punch. He is our executive producer, Super Daredevil Dave Holland.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show.
And behind the camera, he has killed more dragons than the Greek god Apollo. Also, more dragon slayings than the Phoenician prince, Cadamus. He is
Cadamus.
Cadamus. You know him?
Boy, you dug that
I dug that one deep.
Yeah, you did.
I dug it deep. And he has had what? Dinner with Meriwether and Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark. Yeah. And also Sacagawea herself.
Sacagawea?
Yep.
Okay.
And he was the first rider of the Pony Express. Give it up for our director and weatherman, the Dragon Slayer, Michael Heater.
Fairly accurate with a little saddle sore still left over. Good evening, everybody. Welcome aboard.
Hey,
And to my right, you want something
I
to
just
add
got
to that?
something to say. Michael, I think you look pretty daggum good for 750 years of age.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, he's still more dragons than them two guys.
It was his first employee, so what
Yeah, don't go there. And to my right, he is the local guru. He knows it all, bees all, and is all when it comes to local news, whether that's city, whether that's county, whether that's region, whether that's state of Florida. He is the guy that they wrote a song about. Just ask Rupert Holmes back in 1976 about a bar called O'Malley's where he met his lovely wife. He is Mitchell Machine Gunner.
Thank you for that introduction. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And me,
hold on.
I am the equalizer.
And introducing Mr. David Rodgers, the Soul Pony.
There we go. How about that? And also known as the equalizer.
Yes.
You know why? Because we equalize all things here on this show and everywhere else. So there you go. That's why but all of us together is known as the DOR, which is
the Defenders of the Republic.
and also known for my man Neil Boards as the new High Priest of the Church of the Painful Truth. And that's us right there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. What do you have for us as far as a patriotic quote?
Well, a patriotic quote of the day
Yes,
is
sir.
coming from not one of our founding fathers, but
Okay.
somebody everybody knows.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yep.
Black supremacy is as dangerous as white supremacy, and God is not interested merely in the freedom of black men and brown men and yellow men. God is interested in the freedom of the whole human race and the creation of society where all men will live together as brothers, and all men will respect the dignity and the worth of all human personality.
One of my favorite people, I'm going to take a guess, one of my favorite people of all time, I think he was doing a great thing when he was doing this back in the day. Unfortunately, he got assassinated. I'm going to say that is Martin Luther King Jr.
Anybody else?
Martin Luther King Jr. And guess what? He actually lived not too far from here over in St. Augustine, Florida.
Yes, he did.
We're all in agreement then.
Yeah.
And it would be correct.
All right.
I actually have one more.
Okay.
Give me just 1 second.
Yep.
You know, when you have all of the stuff that I have in my cell phone that's quotes and different memes.
Do you actually have a picture of Michael killing those dragons?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah. Could you put that up on the screen for
I
us?
can't put it up on the screen, but I can
Okay.
show you.
Get one.
I can get one.
Oh, God. Where did it go? There. Hold on. What's my phone doing? Never mind.
All right, never mind. Hey, don't go anywhere because the 360 starts right now.
Sorry, guys.
We're off the rails. Sorry. Not really. Maybe. This is the 360, your news and weather update. It's 360 degrees and 360 seconds. Brought to you by Harry Business, the guy that fought Apollo Creed in the Deerfoot Plaza, home of the $10 haircut. Call Dave and Company at 904-964-3338. We begin with breaking news out of St. Augustine, Florida, where 2 people have died in a plane crash at the St. Augustine Airport this afternoon. Witnesses say the Cessna 152 airplane was on an approach to the longest runway at the airport when it began to wobble, with the wings tilting up and down. Then the plane crashed and caught fire. Investigators with the FAA and the NTSB will arrive on scene tomorrow morning, and the plane will remain on the runway until then. That's sad news.
That's really sad.
Back to Alachua County, where detectives are investigating an early morning shooting that left a 12-year-old child suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Another sad story. Deputies responded to the 6900 block of Southwest 6th Place, west of Gainesville, shortly after 1 a.m. this morning. The child was hospitalized, but here's the good news, and is expected to recover.
That's good.
That's great news. Gainesville Fire Rescue's hazardous material team were busy this afternoon after a 3-inch natural gas line was struck by construction workers in the 5500 block of Northwest 34th Boulevard, just north of the Northwest 53rd Avenue before US 441. There was no fire and no injuries were reported. Good.
And with saying that, David, anytime that anybody wants to dig, they need to call 811, have them come out and locate everything for you before you start digging so you don't end up with a problem like that.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Mitchell. Over to Gilchrist County, where a 20-year-old man was killed over the weekend in Jenny Springs. A large tree limb broke off and fell onto a tent where the man was apparently sleeping. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Wow. Up to Columbia County, where Lake City police officers responded to the intersection of Northeast Jackson Avenue and Montana Street for reports of a shooting. Upon arrival, they found one person lying in the middle of the street dead from a gunshot wound. A passenger of a vehicle stopped at the intersection was also shot, but is expected to recover and be okay. Anyone who has information on this shooting is asked to call the Lake City Police Department at 386-752-4343. And what, Mitchell? You can?
Remain anonymous.
There you go. Fireworks are returning to the University of Florida, Byron. The College of Journalism and Communications will present Fanfares and Fireworks event on July 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Bandshell at Flavitt Field. There will be music leading up to the fireworks, which launch at 9:30 p.m.
If you've never been there, that is a great venue for music and an amazing venue for fireworks.
Oh, may have to go.
I've seen multiple concerts there,
Right.
and it is an absolutely amazing place to go watch concerts.
Well, may have to do that. And lastly, the city of Keystone Heights will hold the annual Our County Day at Keystone Beach on Saturday, July the 3rd. The event runs from 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. with music and other activities, and those fireworks will start at 9:30 p.m. Also in Lake Butler, there will be a 4th of July event. Even though the city canceled their scheduled event, there will be a fishing tournament to start at daybreak with an entry fee of $50. And, of course, Mr. Mitchell Gunner will get into that during his segment. Got a little bit more on that. And an antique car show starts at 9 a.m. with awards at 1 p.m. They will have train rides, bounce houses, and other activities for kids. Fireworks will start at 9 p.m. That's the latest news from around the region. Now, here is your weather forecast.
This weather report brought to you by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights. Find Austin's Weather Service on Facebook and have a detailed local forecast sent right to you.
And good evening, everybody. Michael Heater in for Austin Stevens tonight. Some unsettled weather pattern has returned to the area. We had a great day on Sunday because a lot of the moisture associated with the frontal boundary and unsettled weather we had over Florida had been literally pulled to the north thanks to Tropical Storm Danny, which made landfall as a very weak system yesterday. Today, those clouds have returned. We've got some more rain on the forecast, and unfortunately, it's going to stay this way throughout the week. Is there some good news? Yes, there is. Notice nobody is coughing in studio tonight. That's because the pollen count is low once again. Look at 2.8 today. It's going to drop off really low as we go through the rest of this week. The numbers around 2 to 2.1, and then starting to rebound as we get into the weekend with some little bit drier air moving in, and we'll talk about that in a second. Let's get over to the regional forecast, and I'll explain why. We're looking at some developing systems over Florida, but the rest of the region looking pretty good. We're looking at partly cloudy skies with a slight chance of showers in Pascagoula at the temperature of 85, jumping up there to Nashville at 86, as well as Atlanta, and of course 90 degrees and beautiful skies in Charlotte. Unfortunately, in Florida, wait, what is that? I'm sorry, Byron, what did you say?
It's going to snow.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. All right.
So it's going to rain. Forgive him; he know not what he do. And we're looking at some significant weather conditions moving in for the next 3 to 4 days. Locally, the forecast is pretty straightforward. Scattered showers and storms every day as we go through Friday.
Great.
We're hoping to have a little bit better conditions as we move into the weekend. We will have to see what happens, but we are looking at a good chance of rain. I will tell you that we're looking at the potential for isolated areas of strong storms that could lead to localized flooding in certain areas. Make sure you plan for that accordingly. That, dear sir, is the latest from Austin's Weather Service. David, we're throwing it back to you.
Thank you very much, Michael. I do have to ask you a question. Well, you're saying these afternoon thunderstorms, are they going to be around the same time each day? Is it going to differ? And how much are we expecting each and every day?
So you're looking at the usual summer forecast. Unfortunately, we can't set a clock by this particular system because it is so unsettled. But anytime after 11 a.m., you're going to see a better chance of rain after 2 p.m. Pockets of storms could drop anywhere of a half inch to 1 inch of rain. I will tell you, and we'll get into this, and what's the date? We're seeing a repeat of something that happened a few years ago. How long ago? You'll know in just a few minutes.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Michael, for that. I appreciate it. That's a great weather report. And, of course, we'll have that weather report back for you at the end of the show, and Michael will get into that. Now, here is the answer to one of the questions for Thursday night trivia at the Downtown Grill. That is where I am your host, David Rodgers. Ask you questions. I'm your trivia host down there at the Downtown Grill here in beautiful Stark, Florida. And, of course, if you're watching this show or if you watch the repeat of this show all the way up till Thursday night, Mike, till 7:30, right?
Yeah,
You've got till 7:30 to look at this. The word this week is Mitchell.
United.
I wonder why.
Because it's 4th of July.
Yeah.
It's the week that we celebrate our independence.
Right, United. So I could ask all kinds of questions, Byron. I'll probably have 4 questions on there. And it's going to do something with United.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm looking forward for you guys to come to the Downtown Grill. Bring your team. Bring yourself. Bring whoever you want. Play against these guys. Michael Heater actually placed 3rd last week, Mike? Second last week. Yep. So, Byron, you have some work to do. He has not got a first place in a while because you got the first place the last time you were there. So, Michael's still trying to work up to that, but he said he's probably going to have it this week.
See, I can't take credit for everything.
Well, I know.
I really can't anymore.
I know. You got Mom and Dad over there, don't you? And Mary.
Yeah, and Mary.
Yeah, I mean.
And, between the nurse, the retired school teacher, and the retired command sergeant, major, and engineer.
Right.
I mean, you've got a lot of subjects.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens this week.
Wait.
Yeah.
One second.
Yep.
On 3, everybody.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Alvy! Hopefully you are feeling better. Glad that you can join us on the show. Excellent move right there, Dave. Look at that. We got a hello, Alvy, on the bottom third there. That is awesome. And now, everyone's favorite segment, Byron, that brings back a little history. Brought to you by our great media partners, WEAG Eagle Country 106.3 FM, Chuck and Mary Kramer and Lynn Vellis, my employers on Fall Football Fridays with the Bradford Tornadoes, and of course, our other great media partner, the Bradford County Telegraph, John Miller owner, John Ryan and Elizabeth Tillman. They're there. Mark Crawford, and of course, Cliff Smelly. Here's what's the date? These are the headlines from the Bradford Telegraph during the last week of June in what year? Debbie's deluge, right? Debbie's deluge. Bradford copes with flooding. How about county orders monument removed? Uh-oh, I know this. More fires Farnsworth. Boy, oh boy, was that June of 2010, June of 2012, June of 2014. And that's the last week of June, by the way. And we'll get into that here in just a minute, and I'll tell you why. Debbie's deluge. Bradford copes with flooding. County orders monument removed, and more fires Farnsworth. Was that June of 2010, June of 2012, or June of 2014? I'll read the first one. Byron, you can read the second one, and you can read the third one. How about you read the second one, and Byron reads the third one?
All right.
Tropical Storm Debbie dropped over 7 inches of rain on Bradford County, causing extensive flooding throughout the region. Impacted areas included Alligator Creek, the Country Club neighborhood, and Pine Forest Apartments.
A letter from the county manager, Brad Carter, sent to the Community Men's Fellowship director for the immediate removal of the Ten Commandment monument in front of the courthouse.
Yes, sir. I remember that.
School Superintendent Beth Moore fired Chad Farnsworth and his wife Jennifer from their assistant principal positions at Bradford High School. Chad was Beth's opponent in the previous superintendent election earlier in the year.
Interesting. Debbie's deluge. Bradford copes with flooding. County orders monument removed, and more fires the Farnsworths. Was it June of 2010, June of 2012, or June of 2014? Byron, you found that? Did you find that that quote?
Yes.
Go read it. Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to give everybody a...
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to welcome everybody back into the show. To my left, he is the Minister of Defense. He is the Byron Bagwell. Say hello, Byron.
Hello, everyone.
And by the way, somebody asked me if you was wearing a man bun. I said no, so I don't know what they're talking about.
No man bun.
Back in the saddle, he sparred with Apollo Creed. Give it up for Dave Holland.
Thank you, thank you.
And he's killed more dragons and slayed more dragons than the Greek god Apollo. You know who that is? Mm-hmm. Michael, the dragon slayer here. You just heard him give the weather. Say hello, Mike.
Good evening, folks.
Oh, hey, do we have proof of that, by the way? We'll get some. Oh, wait a minute. There he is, right there. Look at him. He's got his shield up there. Look at that dragon. Man, that's an ugly-looking dragon. Michael, did you get him?
Oh, don't you know?
Oh, man, where'd you stab him?
Oh, I got him in the carotid, buddy.
Who got him in the carotid?
One good jump out in across the throat.
Look at there.
Problem solved.
Wow.
You don't even look scared.
You don't look scared there, Mike, at all.
Please.
The dragon slayer. He slayed more dragons than those two guys combined. And to my right here, he is the local guru. He is the man himself. Knows it all. Beazall wrote a song about him. It's called the Escape Song, the Pina Colada Song. Give it up for the guy that was at O'Malley's back in 1976 where he met his beautiful wife, Nikki, right? Nikki? Let's call her Nikki. Nikki. Hey, it is Mitchell, Machine Gunner.
Good afternoon, everyone.
All right. I
feel sorry for the bartender because we were actually only 1 year of age in 76.
Really? No, that's not what I've been told. But anyway, hey, welcome in. I'm David Rodgers, your host. It's gone off the rails.
Okay.
You got it.
If you like some pina coladas and get
caught in Ukraine. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The truth is, all might be free if they valued freedom and defended it as they ought.
Who? Mike, you know? Any guess?
No, that one I'm afraid I don't.
Boy, that one has got me. David? That was a toughie. Read it again. Read it again.
Thomas Payne.
That's a good guess. That's a really good guess.
Oh, wow. Say it again. Read it again.
No, I don't know what the year was. The quote doesn't
All
say
right.
the year.
Well, while you're finding that again, because I just want to hear it again. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is your chance to play. This is your chance to win a $25 gift certificate from the Downtown Grill. And by the way, Michael will reiterate this fact again. This is the last week of June. This is the last show of June. Right. You need to try to get a good guess so you can get your name put into that fire helmet so you can win a $25 gift certificate. And you know why? By the way, Byron, Roy Jackson is the king right now.
Got two of them
in a row.
In a row.
In a row.
Wow.
In a row.
Wow.
We haven't had that yet. So, could it be 3 for him? I know he's got a guess in there or two, right, Mike?
He's several.
Several. Uh-oh. So here we go. Could this be 3 in a row? But anyway, Michael, who said that? I mean,
the truth is, all might be free if they valued freedom and defended it as they ought.
I'm going to change my thing to Paul Revere.
You're dancing all over it. It is somebody that's considered a founding father.
Then I'm going with George Washington. I'm going George Washington.
John Hancock.
Nice guess.
I almost did one by him too, and I think I will in my segment. Y'all are going to have to bear with me with this, and I apologize for some of it that some of you will understand from the Old English.
Absolutely. Who is it? One more guess?
One more guess.
Say Benjamin Franklin.
No, I'm not going to say Benjamin Franklin. I'm going to say John Hancock.
No. He made really good beer too.
Oh.
Mr. Adams himself.
Mr. Samuel Adams. Samuel Adams said that.
Wow. Samuel Adams. Good job. All right. Again, Byron's segment will be coming up. Mitchell right here pretty soon. So, this is your chance. $25 gift certificate from the Downtown Grill. Who is it going to be? Let's find out. Want to welcome in Samantha Cook. I want to welcome in Byron Bagwell. I want to welcome in Roy Jackson, 2-time winner. Miss Shirley Bagwell is on. Good evening to you, Mom. Brett Southwell, who I work with, is on. Benny Jackson's on. Gail Allen's on. Christopher Davis, owner of the Slice and Dice Barbecue. Yeah. He's on today. He'll be open tomorrow through the weekend. Go by there and grab a special, grab a burger, grab some ribs and chicken on Saturday. That was absolutely delicious. By the way, did the Gunners go out there on Saturday?
I have not talked to my brother, so I do
Maybe
not
Crystal. Maybe Crystal answer that. There you go. Janet Roll's on. Hello, Janet. Randy Brooks, Raymond No, Tammy Testone, John Garner from Pascagoula, Mississippi. Went to school with him. Ray J is on. Good afternoon, Ray. Hey, Pepper Autistic's on. Sharon Petterprin, the model, is on. The model, Sharon Petterprin. Pepper Autistic. Hi, Justin Thompson. Okay, Justin must be on then. Roy Jackson says 2014, Mike.
Got it.
Terry Wilkerson says 2012. Christopher Davis, 12. Brooks, 12. Petterprin, the model, 12. Tammy Testone, 12. Edward Petterprin, her husband, 12. Dwight Allen, good evening, fellow brother. Good evening, my patriot brother.
Guess who else is on it? I haven't seen in a while.
Rob Barrick is on, man.
Rob. Good evening, brother.
Man, is Barbie on with you? This will be a great time for you two to hang out. Good evening to you, brother. Shirley Bagwell says 12. Pepper Autistic says 12. Dwight Allen, those burgers were awesome, Chris. And Dwight Allen says 2014. Well, I'm going to go around the room, guys. Byron, what do you say?
I'm going to say 2012.
Okay.
That is exactly what was in my head the moment you said that. 2012.
Michael?
I must confess that I was front center on the front page of the paper, so I'm not going to say it because I would say knee deep in it, but it was a little bit deeper than that.
All right, Mitchell.
That year I ran for school board, and that was 2012.
See that I'm telling you. We're probably going to have some answers saying, Raymond No says 12. You might as well put everybody's name in the dadgum hat. This was pretty easy. Let me ask something. What gave it away to you? I know Mitchell read, so he already knew. What gave it away?
All of it.
All of it?
All of it.
Dave, what gave it away to all of it? Yeah. So, anyway, look, final answers right here. We're going to move on with the show. We got a lot to cover tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Man, look at this. Man, Mitchell's got all kinds of stuff. We got all kinds of stuff on the prompter. Hey, we've got some decorations.
Very special for the 4th of July.
4th of July.
Something that I personally do every year.
Yeah, if
in
you
the
watch
morning
this
on the
show.
4th.
Yeah,
You brought us some
Look.
Sentinel Adams.
Look at this shirt.
Well, that's later on during
That's
the
later
day.
on during the day.
Or Yingling, one of the two.
All right, and also my director just told us. Guess what? The phone line is now open. 904-458-7588. If the line is busy, you can leave a message, and we will read your message on the air. You can also try to call us back if you wish, and that's 904-458-7588. Hey, real quick now, you can get in on the phone line. If you haven't talked to us in a while, hey, you can talk about anything that you want to talk about. You can talk about, hey, Michael Heater slaying dragons. You can talk about Byron Bagwell in his dadgum man bun. You can talk about Dave sparring with Apollo Creed. You can talk about the Pina Colada song with Mitchell Gunner. And if you really want to talk to somebody, you just talk to me, the equalizer.
Okay. First and foremost.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry.
There's no man bun. Okay. Look. No man bun. No man bun. There is no curled up bun on.
Well, what all we see is the back of the chair. Stand up so they can see it. All right. I don't know.
No man bun.
There's
Scottish.
no man bun. It's Scottish.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you got some Scottish descent in you. You got some relatives.
My mother was a Morris.
Yep. She sure was. So I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to say that. Anyway, the answer is. Wait, yeah, I did. Wait for it. Here it is. Mitchell will be absolutely right. That's June of 2012. Anybody that's guessed that, here we go. Hey, you're in for the pool. Michael's got you. That dadgum fire helmet, Mike, is going to be slap full next Tuesday night.
Yes, it is.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a hard drawing.
Yeah.
Did DeRoy get it right this time? I think he did.
I'm pretty sure.
Wow. I'm telling you right now, man, there's going to be a winner. And nobody's won it 3 times. Nobody's won it 2 times except him.
Except one.
So, yeah. Anyway, hey, David, do you have something that Miss Bagwell, so before we move on, do you got something that she brought to us? Byron, do you have something Miss Bagwell brought to us?
There you go. There, Brian, take that in there and show them.
Well, I had special instructions.
Oh, you do? Okay, I'm sorry.
I had special instructions. Give me just 1 second. We'll be over there.
Well, he's peeling it open, ladies and gentlemen. And while he's doing that, again, Mitchell Gunner, you got a lot of stuff going on, don't you?
Yeah, quite a few. We're going to talk about some events that are coming up.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about the elections for the city of Stark. The qualifying. We're going to get in a little bit of state news from Ron DeSantis on the tragic scene that happened down there in Surfside, Florida.
Whoa, wait a minute. Good grief. Well, look who's sitting in Byron's place. There he is, back in 1993. Give it up for Mr. Byron Bagwell with his man bun. Byron ain't paying attention. Look at it. Oh, yeah, I got you.
Whoa.
Oh, my goodness, look at that. Miss Shirley Bagwell has outdone herself again.
Here you go, Michael. We'll share this.
Look at that. Oh, my God. Michael, sit it up there, man. Good grief alive. Look at that. Miss Bagwell. Byron.
That's good.
Byron, she's outdone herself again, hasn't she?
It even smells good.
It smells good, man. Those peaches.
They're fresh.
Ooh-wee.
Thank you, Mary.
All right. Yes, sir.
I got some breaking news.
Okay.
We here at the studio just obtained an updated image of Dragon Slayer in action.
Is that right? All right, let's see it. We wanted the Dragon Slayer in action.
You guys are killing
Wait a minute.
man.
Where is he at? Look at that dragon. He is spitting the hellacious fire.
Michael.
Where's Michael?
Michael is in the front. That's
It's-
someone helping him hold the hose,
Yeah.
and they're fighting fire with fire.
They are fighting fire with fire. Look at that.
You guys are
That's
killing
water putting that fire out.
me. You guys,
Look at that dragon. Look at the size of that, Byron.
you guys are killing me. You're
Yeah, we sure are. Look at there. Look at the. I bet you there's another image somewhere down in the show that's probably going to show him fighting a third dragon. You remember, I told you that he slayed multiple dragons.
Well,
You guys are killing me.
I think he got the last dragon.
He got the last. Anyway,
Back up.
Find Tiamat.
Meanwhile, back
no,
on the road.
no.
Tiamat.
Who is the boss of the show, Michael?
During the broadcast?
No, sir. All the time. All the time. If I want to keep pounding on Michael Heater and the Dragon, I will.
Tiamat. Find
He wants me to go past this. I know that's what he's
put
doing.
it up there for you.
We are going to go past this. It's June of 2012, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. Hey, thank you for joining us tonight, guys, and we'll be right back after this message.
Community happenings and topics with our own local voice on current events, Mr. Mitchell Gunter.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Rodgers. I do want to get into a couple of things, and then Mr. Mitchell Gunter is going to take over. I need to ask you a question proposed to both me and you. Will we have the two candidates running for chief of police on the show soon?
That is my understanding. Whether they come on at the same time or not is going to be at their discretion, but both have agreed to be on the show prior to the election.
All right. And yes, it is, Raymond. No, that is another delicious, good-looking cake for Miss Shirley. He says he's jealous as heck. All right, Mitchell, go for it. Introduce yourself. And what do you do? It's what's?
The scoop.
There you go.
That's right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to talk about an upcoming event that's fixing to happen here in July the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be located at the downtown square on Call Street. It is the Jeep Show Off and Shine event. If you've got a Jeep, we want you to bring it out and participate. It's going to be a great time. And I know Jeep people, it doesn't matter if it's raining or not. They will show up with those Jeeps.
They sure will.
And I'll tell you what, we can't wait for this event. It's going to be great for the community. It's going to be great for the downtown merchants and everyone. So remember that. July the 24th, Michael Heater is actually working on it as well. We will have more updates coming soon to set in stone the time frame of the event, not unless you already know it now.
If you want, I can give you some updated
Let's do
information.
it.
All right,
Go,
so
go.
folks, for those of you interested in the Jeep Show and Shine, we'll have vendors that will be arriving. The show itself is from 6 until 10. We're blocking off Call Street from 301 all the way down past the construction area towards the hospital. Right now, as of this morning, I have 65 Jeeps that have agreed to be here.
Really?
We
And we're
could
still
have
almost a month, aren't we?
we could have almost 200 vehicles show up before this is all said and done. It's a really big event here like that. I'm excited to announce, whether he knows it or not, we do have probably one of the most amazing DJs will be out there broadcasting music.
Yep.
If he's available.
He is available.
Oh, good. All right. So,
He is available, so
Boogie
I'll
Nights
be there.
DJ will be providing the music. We have vendors on display as well. The exciting part about this is, gentlemen, if I may, really quick, this is a precursor to what's coming up down the road. The second Saturday series will be kicking off in the city of Stark. We have, right now, 3 big-time concerts scheduled for the second Saturday of the month starting in January. We've got car shows. We've got motorcycle shows being lined up. We've got a big concert venue, open air. Everything is free to the public with the sponsors that we are lining up here. The events of being able to come downtown to enjoy dinner at the local restaurants and be able to have time just with no traffic, open air, pedestrian-friendly entertainment. It's making its way back to downtown Stark starting this fall and through 2022.
Wow. Who was the push from this from, Michael? Was it the downtown business merchants? Who made the push? Somebody asked the question. That's why.
Well, yeah. Let's just say it was a community effort spearheaded by a very motivated individual.
Okay. That motivated individual, ladies and gentlemen, sitting to my right. You've seen him slagging some dragons already. That was Michael Heater. Yeah, somebody said, what prompted the event?
I wanted to see us bring some great events back downtown. I called Scott Newton is with FM Generation. He is the promoter and manager of several big bands around the state of Florida, Majesty of Rock being one of them.
Right.
Do an amazing job. We came to an agreement on a price, and I have booked them for the Saturday, April 9th event in Stark. We're lining up some bluegrass bands. We're lining up some other some country artists. We are working on trying to get the Ben Carter Band to perform in its full thing. So we've got a lot of big-time events coming to Stark and the Call Street area. I can tell you that in the coming years, it's going to get even better because with the overpass, we'll have more room to expand for car shows. I know in September we're planning a Touch a Truck event. We're making the return of Touch a Truck. Once the overpass is done, we're actually going to use the underside of the overpass to bring in Touch a Truck, Jeep, and car shows so that you'll still be able to walk down Call Street but be able to make your way over towards Madison Street and enjoy all the activities in the shade.
Wow, yes. Nice.
And I tell you, it's going to be great after that overpass gets built. You know, for that reason, to keep people out of the sun, they'll enjoy the event a whole lot more. And I appreciate you, Michael, for including me, helping you out with the upcoming events and stuff that are going to be going on. And I tell you, it's going to be a good showing. It doesn't matter if it's going to be the Jeeps, the cars, or the bikes. We're going to have a good showing, I think.
Absolutely.
And I hope it takes off like wildfire, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
Fire.
Carry on.
He's thinking about those fighting dragon days.
Yeah, I know it, man. I'm sure there will probably be another picture coming up soon.
Carry on.
Also coming up here pretty soon, right down the road on the 4th of July, is the fireworks at Keystone Beach. That is coming up. They're going to start at 5:30, and they're going to have events throughout the day to 9:30, and after 9:30, that's when the fireworks will begin. Also, since Lake Butler is not doing the fireworks, a very special NFL football player from Lake Butler, C.J. Spiller, he is actually putting on a fireworks display. This will also take place at 9 p.m., and the location will be at 72nd Lane there in Lake Butler, Florida.
Right.
So if you want to see some fireworks and you're over in Lake Butler, that's where you go. And I tell you what, hats off to C.J. Spiller for stepping forward and having fireworks for the community.
Can anybody tell me where he played college football at?
He played college football, and guess where? Clemson.
There you go.
Guess where he played high school football?
Union County.
He played in Union County.
Guess where he got drafted and played football at first?
He got drafted by the Dallas. He got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys.
But he started with the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So go ahead and get into some local news real quick. Orange Street Water and Sewer Project in Stark is progressing, but has suffered some setbacks due to the recent rainfall. Sewer work on Pat Street and Atkins Street will be complete by July the 9th. Water line work from Atkins Street to Weldon Street will start on July the 5th. Roadway construction will start after the water is completed, and the plan is to rebuild Orange Street from Atkins to Weldon Street prior to the start of the new school year.
Wow. So
a lot of work over the next couple of weeks is going to be taking place there on Orange Street. Of course, if you don't live down that road or you don't have any business, it is for local traffic only.
Yes.
So I just wanted to bring that up. Guess what? DoorDash food delivery is now available in Stark. Download DoorDash app to check availability in Bradford County.
DoorDash.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, Michael, can you try them out for us?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that we can download it like that. But yeah, this is they've really started picking up business here. That DoorDash app has been very popular in a lot of the larger cities.
This is one of the areas where people have been lacking for food delivery services. One of the big questions that came up was, would DoorDash deliver from a distance? The answer is no. You cannot get Firehouse subs brought to Stark, unfortunately. You cannot get Chick-fil-A brought to Stark, unfortunately. There is, however...
Zaxby's?
Unfortunately. But this is the beginning of what... So you'll see... we already had Grubhub has been here.
Right.
Now DoorDash is giving us some competition, which is actually pretty good because that's going to keep prices down because there'll be that competition to do that.
Right.
So.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of Chick-fil-A, I know a perfect spot for a Chick-fil-A to go. It's right out there with the Walmart shopping center.
You talking
That
about...
building is vacant.
Yes.
Man, I tell you
Are
what.
you talking about the old Whataburger?
The old Chic.
Yes.
Now it used to be the Chic.
The Chic,
Yeah.
yes, there's a good building right there
Probably
for
the only
Chick-fil-A
one
to come
that'll make
in.
it
So
there.
I can tell you
You're
somewhere
right.
else it would be a good place for it. Where the old Peppo was,
Yep.
right there by KFC.
See.
Yep.
That would be another good spot.
There's been talk though, the rumbling. Now how accurate it is, I don't know, but that particular spot has been mentioned several times for a Dairy Queen.
I would love to see Dairy
Me
Queen
too.
here again. And people say again when I say that, but when I was a very young child, there was a Dairy
There was a
Queen in
Dairy
Stark.
Queen here in
Yeah.
Stark, yeah.
Yep.
Also, I want to mention back to road construction real quick. I was noticing right there on 301 over Alligator Creek, they're getting pretty close to completion of the bridge work.
Yes.
So hopefully here pretty soon that will be reopened, and I tell you, it will help a lot. It definitely helped those businesses there. That's been suffering a little bit from people being able to get from one side of the road to the other. And I tell you, I can't wait to go through there without having to worry about.
Oh my God! Yes, you ain't kidding.
Because it is pretty narrow. But yeah, it looks like it's fixing to wrap up pretty soon. I'm hoping within the next week or so. Also, to remind everybody, Freedom Tax Week is coming up, and that will actually start on July the 1st and run through July the 7th. So you can even buy sporting equipment tax free. So.
Look at there. Well, tickets and water gear and all kinds of stuff there. Mike, can we put that on our website?
Yeah, we can go ahead and
let's
update
put that on
as
our
well.
website.
Absolutely.
It'll be a whole lot easier to go through and let people see that.
Yep.
Also, I want to get into some Bradford County news. There will be no commissioner meeting set for July the 5th. I know that it was on the calendar at one time. They had a meeting, and that is the day they're going to have for observance of July the 4th. So no commissioner meeting on July the 5th. The next county commissioner meeting will be on July the 15th, and that will start at 6 o'clock p.m. The next City of Stark Commissioner meeting will be held on July the 6th at 5:30, or is it canceled?
At the last commission meeting, they pushed it back a week for a workshop that was being done, so the next commission meeting will be on the 13th.
Okay.
Just
So
so
that
you-
has been pushed back to July the 13th. I didn't see it on their website.
My
so.
apologies. Yeah.
Go ahead and get into the City of Stark. Here's a couple of things. Talking about qualifying for August the 31st has been completed.
Okay.
That was done last Friday at noon. So the people that were running is for City Commissioner's seat District 2, Janice Mortar. She was unopposed, so she obtains her position. City Commissioner District 4, Scott Roberts, unopposed. And City Clerk Jimmy Crosby Jr., unopposed. The only race that they will actually have on the ticket this year is actually for Chief of Police, and that will be between Jeff Johnson and Bill Murray. So that will be the only thing that you would have to vote on.
And we're trying to get those two gentlemen on our show,
That's
as
right.
Michael said.
Yes.
Whether we can get them together, I don't know. But hopefully we can get them at least separately, and they can talk about why they're running, their agenda, meet these guys if you don't know them, and that's going to be a great show when we get these two guys on.
Also want to mention the City of Stark has an opening for a code enforcement and planning officer. You can actually go to their website. The application can be found on there for you to fill out. So if you're maybe interested in that job, that is open.
Mike, does that job pay pretty decent?
It actually does.
I think up to $18 an hour.
It's not bad.
So
David Rodgers may want to quit going to Lake City. I may apply for that.
That's not a bad idea.
Hey, I could save my. Hey, you never know. We'll talk about that after the show.
And also the qualifications will be listed on their site as well. The splash pad has reopened after the complex was vandalized last week. And also, while we're talking about things being vandalized, also over at Keystone Beach, that park was vandalized as well. And the good work of the citizens around the area was getting a hold of the Clay County Sheriff's Office, and they were able to catch 2 of the 3 suspects that was in that area. So really great work for people looking out, and when you see something, say something.
That's right.
And in this instance, that's what helped. In state news, today Ron DeSantis reported that this is the first time in Florida's history that 8 urban search and rescue teams have been deployed other than a hurricane, and so far over 22,000 hours has been performed on looking for people that have survived or have died in the results of Surfside apartment complex crashing down. So the investigation will continue. They're looking for the cause, and instead of pointing fingers, they're looking for the cause of what made this happen. And the thing is, we need to do is just keep our thoughts and prayers for all those family members that haven't heard from their loved ones that may be trapped. And we can pray and keep praying, and God answers prayers. There have been stories in the past where people have survived being stuck under rubble for a long time. So
the air pockets are just right, Mike. Everything. I know you need water and food,
right?
But how long can you survive without food, Mike?
You can go upwards of 2 weeks without food.
Food. Okay. How about water?
Water is usually
3 days.
Usually 3 to 4 days.
Yeah. But it's been raining. You can get.
And I was going to say they've been dealing. The task force teams are down there, and my hat's off to them because I spent years on Task Force 8. As through Gainesville Fire Rescue, I was part of the Urban Search and Rescue team through GFR, and we deployed to several hurricanes and that sort of thing like that. So yes, the weather has been extremely unaccommodating for search and rescue activities. But yes, you've had enough rain to where if someone was in a pocket where the water was draining in, they could use that for drinking water. They have not given up hope. They are still treating this as a rescue mission. They have not yet switched to recovery.
Mike, and and Mitchell, you know what I like, Byron, you know what I like about this? They're not giving up. No. They are just steady pounding. I don't care what the weather is. No. Man, we're steady digging, digging.
It's not stopping them
It's not stopping them.
And one other thing before I go tonight, I want to mention, right now we've already had one tropical storm. Michael talked about that in the weather. This is the opportunity for you to go ahead and start making your list of what you need to prepare for a hurricane. Hopefully we never will need it this year, but you have to put yourself in that predicament to plan, because I'll tell you what, if you don't plan and get your stuff ready, and when it hits, it's too late, and also think about things of where you're going to go. If you have family members that have health issues, how you're going to get them into the shelter, because after the winds reach 45 miles an hour,
thereabouts,
the units will quit running, and they will not run until after the storm has passed. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and for those of you that are concerned about you're not sure exactly how to get the plan, I mean, it's easy to sit here and say, oh, well, yeah, you need to make a plan. You need to have your supplies. A lot of people, they don't quite know how to get that plan started. Once the ball gets rolling, you can do it like that one. Well, we have folks available to help. Your local offices of emergency management, whether it be Bradford County or any of the surrounding counties, are happy to help you with that one. You can also find us online. The best way to get the ball started is www.ready.gov.
There you go.
And I'll tell you what, that's the scoop for me, David. Back to you.
All right, that's the scoop for tonight. That was Mitchell Gunner, and we're going to be right back after this message.
Schuster & Sabin is the leading firm in Florida with 8 offices from the Panhandle to the Florida Keys to handle your claims for personal injury, workplace violations, and PIP claims for medical professionals. Visit us online at www.piplaw.com or call 24 hours a day at 877-511-7829. Schuster and Sabin Law Offices for all your legal needs.
And now, with the latest national and international update, here is Your World Report with Byron Bagwell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, patriots, infidels, and miscreants. I am the Byron Bagwell.
Who are you?
I am the Byron Bagwell.
The minister.
The minister of the high priests of the new church of the painful truth.
And also the minister of defense. That's right.
Guys, I love this time of year.
Yep.
And the one of the reasons that I love this time of year is what I'm going to go a little bit over tonight. Okay? This is the time of the year of the birth of our nation. It is very, very special to me. And I would like to give everybody a little bit of background on the Declaration of Independence, why it's written, and I'm going to read the Declaration of Independence. This is not something that a lot of people do. Over the past probably 15 years, it has been the first thing that I do in the morning of July 4th. And since we're not going to be on air Sunday and we're not going to have a show Friday night, I wanted to do it today. I want people to understand why this nation is what it is and why the men that created this nation out of colonies created this nation and what was going on. Okay. The Declaration of Independence was the first formal statement of this nation's people of asserting their rights, choosing their own government. When an armed conflict between bands of American colonists and British soldiers began in April 1775, the Americans were I hate this word.
We're fighting.
We're fighting only for their rights as subjects of the British Crown. So we were basically colonists. We came here. This was a British colony. The 13 states were a British colony.
Right.
Florida was actually a Spanish colony at the time. There were French colonies in this country. I think there was still a German colony in this country too, but I'm not 100% certain about that point in time. The Declaration of Independence was signed by 56 people from all 13 colonies, and a majority of it was written by Thomas Jefferson. It is 5 parts. It has the preamble, the statement of human rights, charges against human rights, charges against the king and parliament, and the statement of separation and signatures. There's also another section in there that sometimes is called the 6th, and what it is the statement against the British people themselves. Right. The King of Great Britain, George III, is guilty of 27 specific abuses. The King interfered with the colonists' right to self-government and for a fair judicial trial. Acting with Parliament, the King also instituted legislation that affected the colonies without their consent. This legislation levied taxes on the colonists. It also required them to quarter British soldiers, removed their right to trial by jury, and prevented them from trading freely. Additionally, the King and the Parliament are guilty of outright destruction of American life and property by their refusal to protect the colony's borders.
Say that again out loud.
Additionally, the King and Parliament are guilty of outright destruction of American life and property by their refusal to protect the colony's borders. Sound familiar?
Sounds familiar?
Their confiscation of American ships at sea and their intent to hire foreign mercenaries to fight against the colonists. The colonial governments tried to reach a peaceful reconciliation of these differences with Great Britain, but were continually ignored. The colonists who appealed to the British citizens were similarly ignored, despite their shared common heritage and their just cause. After many peaceful attempts, the colonists had no choice but to declare its independence from Great Britain. The new nation would be called the United States of America and will have no further connection with Great Britain at that point. The new government will reserve the right to levy war, make peace, make allies with foreign nations, conduct trade, and do anything else that other nations do.
There you go. So,
in essence, one of the greatest political documents ever written was written at that point by a brilliant politician and lawyer by the name of Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson is one of our founding fathers, and quite frankly, probably one of the most brilliant men to ever inhabit the United States of America.
Agreed.
One of the things that you start to understand about Thomas Jefferson when you read his writings, the things that he did with his life, normal people don't do with their lives. He was a lawyer. He was a poet. He was a writer. He loved music. He was a prolific supporter of the French Revolution. Not in an eventual way that it ended up and how they formed their new government, but he was a prolific supporter of the French Revolution because of what was going on in France. As a matter of fact, he was envoy to France at the time that happened. That's why he never signed, guess what? He never signed the Constitution of the United States because he was not here at the time. He was in France during the French Revolution. Right. He really gets a bad rap for multiple reasons when the issue of slavery comes up and him owning slaves. And I'll discuss that a little bit later. And I've got something very, very special tonight for the people who watch this and want to get really mad at me about glorifying a slave owner, because I want people to understand that there is one statement that is actually in the original Declaration of Independence, the unedited version that Thomas Jefferson wrote. And after I read the actual Declaration of Independence as it was printed and as it was written and declared in Congress, I am going to go to this book, which some of you have seen before. It holds his autobiography, and it holds his letters that he wrote. It's literally that thick, this thick. The book is that thick. Okay? Now, that being said, in Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinion of mankind requires that they should declare these causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new governments, laying its foundations on principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall most likely to affect their safety and their happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing the invariably the same object evidence as designed to reduce them to absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of the colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their system of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries, usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend them. He has refused to pass other laws for accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the rights of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formable only to tyrants. He has called together legislative bodies at unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved the representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolution to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposed all of the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions from within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage the migration hither, and raising conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will for the tenure of their office and the amount of payment for their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat our substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has effected the render of the military independence and the superior of silver power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and acknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off trade with all other parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretend offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for the introducing the same absolute rule for these colonies, for suspending our legislatures and declaring themselves invested with the power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed our lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the work of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy of a head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, and endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of the frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress. In the most humble terms, our repeated petitions have only been answered by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting any attention of our English brethren. We have warned them from time to time of the attempts by their legislature to extend unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstance of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and have conjured them by ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connection and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war and friends in peace. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in general commerce, assembled appealing to the supreme judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in name and by authority of good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these United States colonies are, and of right, are to be free and independent states. They are absolved of all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to totally dissolved, and that as a free, independent state, they have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliance, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which the independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor.
Amen. That was a well-written document. I'm telling you right now.
Hold on 1 second. New Hampshire, Josiah Bartlett, William Whipple, Matthew Thornton. Massachusetts Bay, John Hancock. Sam Adams, John Adams, Robert Treat Payne, Elbridge Jerry. Rhode Island, Stephen Hawkins, William Ellery. Connecticut, Roger Sherman, Sam Huntington, William Williams, Oliver Wolcott. New York, William Floyd, Philip Livingston, Francis Lewis, Lewis Morris. New Jersey, Richard Stockton, John Witherspoon, Francis Hopkins, John Hart, Abra Clark. Pennsylvania, Robert Morris, Benjamin Rush, Benjamin Franklin, John Morton, George Clymer, Jason Smith, George Taylor, James Wilson, George Ross. Delaware, Caesar Rodney, George Reed, Thomas McKean. Maryland, Samuel Chase, William Paca, Thomas Stone, Charles Carroll of Carrollton. Virginia, George Wythe, Richard Henry Lee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Thomas Nelson Jr., Francis Lightfoot Lee, Carter Braxton, North Carolina, William Hopper, Joseph Hughes, John Penn, South Carolina, Edward Rutledge, Thomas Hayward Jr., Thomas Lynch Jr., Arthur Middleton, Button Gwinnett, Georgia, Lehman Hall, George Walton. Now, the reason I read those men's names is because they're not read that often. By signing that document, these men signed their death warrants. If they would have been caught, they would have been killed. And by killed, I don't mean just shot or hung. They would have been tortured to death. They gave their lives, most of them their fortunes, because most of them died destitute, and their sacred honor to create this nation for us. I sit back and I watch this, what's going on today, and it makes me extremely sad. I wanted to share another quote with everybody, and it's one of my favorite quotes by any founding father, because it's said that when this man signed this document that I just read, he said this. I'm not sure you will ever find out if it's true or not, because it's one of those things that have crossed over from not being written to being legend. When a certain man signed this document, he was the first person to sign this. And his signature is bigger and grander than any other of our founding fathers on this document. Do anybody know who this is?
John Hancock himself.
John Hancock. That's where we get the phrase, put your John Hancock here, because he was the first, he was the grandest. But not a lot of people remember what he said when he signed it. And please pardon me, ladies out there and children out there, when you tell a king to bugger off, do it with an iron set of American balls. And that's exactly what the man did. Because, like I said, if they were caught, they were going to be killed. That document is not only one of the most well-written political documents ever, it is probably the greatest declaration that has ever been written about anything. The man that wrote it deserves more credit than what he gets for it, and he gets a ton of credit for it. And I'll tell you why. Because if you've never researched the Declaration of Independence, you will never know this. The Declaration of Independence that I just read, that all of us used to have to read in school, is not the actual original version of the Declaration of Independence. Right. I started last week I talked a little bit last week about something called critical race theory. And we talked a little bit about the 1619 Project. The 1619 Project basically says that the United States was started in 1619 when the first black slave was brought here.
Right.
They were slaves brought into the Americas far long before the first black slave was here. The Irish were enslaved. The Scottish were enslaved. Slavery was not about race. It was about class at that point. So that in itself destroys that narrative. But this destroys it even more. This is one of the verses that are lines that is taken out of the Declaration of Independence. And I want you to understand that this man was a slave owner who wrote this. I want you to understand something else. He was a lawful citizen, and he followed the laws of this land. He understood the laws of this land. Doesn't mean he didn't try to change it. Because Thomas Jefferson, when he was a legislator in the state of Virginia, long before the American colonies ever became the United States of America, he was busy trying to pass legislation to abolish slavery. I want you to listen to this passage, and I want you to think about how absurd it is to claim that this country ever started before July 4th, 1776, when these men signed this document. He has waged cruel war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life and liberty in the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere, or to incur miserable death in their transportation hither. This piratical warfare and opprobrium of an infidel powers is the warfare of the Christian king of Great Britain, determined to open a market where men should be bought and sold. He has prostituted his negative for the suppression of every legislative attempt to prohibit or restrain this execrable commerce, and that in this assembly of horrors might want no fact to distinguish die, he is now exciting those very people to arms among us and to purchase their liberty, for which he has deprived them by murdering the people on whom he's obtruded them, thus paying off former crimes committed against the liberties of one people with crimes which he urges them to commit against the lives of another. Now, that may be a whole lot of fancy words coming out, and that may be Old English. But what Thomas Jefferson is saying to you is that slavery was forced on the United States of America and certain colonies that tried to abolish them. He is saying the King of England and England itself forced the African slave trade on the Americas. That's a powerful statement. It's not known, it's not read, and there's a reason it's not. Because what people want to do nowadays, especially people who espouse these Marxist ideas that the 1916 Project came out of and critical race theory came out of, they want to vilify the people who founded this country. They want to twist history. You must arm yourself with the truth. That passage came out of of Thomas Jefferson's autobiography. He actually wrote out the Declaration of Independence and then wrote the parts that were changed that he wrote in them that they wouldn't ratify because they thought it would push things too far with the King of England and the people of England. Why that it mattered at all at that point, I don't know. But that was what the excuse was why they took some of these passages out. That one in particular, children of this country need to learn. They need to understand because it's not taught. Heck, I did not even know that existed up until about 2 years ago when I read this for the first time. I didn't know there was another Declaration of Independence that parts were taken out of, and this was made into a whole. I just want people to understand these weren't evil men. These were men constrained by the laws and the practices of their time, and they did what they could to make this nation what it is. And then you know what they did? They wrote a document so we could fix the wrongs that were here at the time. Took us a while, but we fixed them. So every time I hear somebody do that, it makes my blood boil. Because people just either simply don't know what they're talking about when they talk about it, or they're purposely distorting history for a purpose. We as a people have to understand where we came from. We have to understand the rights and the wrongs of our history. We have to understand also how we corrected those rights and wrongs and how we went about continuing to correct the rights and wrongs that happened in this country. Because there's no other place in this world like it. There is none.
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Closest thing I've ever seen is the Czech Republic. Because guess what? When they left communism, when the Berlin Wall fell, during my lifetime, when the Berlin Wall fell, there were some very wise people in that country that loved America and designed that system on ours. It's the closest thing I've ever seen. It's amazing. They literally took our documents and made country out of it. It's what they did. Now, the words are different, but they basically designed their country on our founding. And that's
the same way.
Yeah.
that is such a great tribute to this country. And now we have people running it down. You're not going to run it down around me because I'm going to tell you about yourself. Because I have been around long enough to understand and know and read documents and understand what these men went through and what they did and what they were fighting against. Please, guys, this is the greatest country in the world. Our founding is the greatest founding in the world and one of the most impossible stories ever. You're talking about a group of ragtag colonies, 13 colonies, that rose up, created a military out of nothing, and defeated the most powerful military on the planet
Yeah.
to create a new country. And you know why they did it and how they did it? It wasn't because we were a nation of warriors. It wasn't because we had the strongest men on earth. It was because of two things. It was because of belief in God Almighty, and it was because a belief that all men have individual liberty.
Yeah.
The laws of nature and nature's God gave us those things. They wholeheartedly believed in what they were doing. This country has done some amazing things. I want to end tonight by saying I want to thank all of the men and women that have ever served or still serve in this country. You're part of what gives us our freedom. I want to thank our founding fathers, because without them and their knowledge of natural law, romanticism, common law, God's law, there would not be a United States of America. There wouldn't be. We would not have the right, black, brown, yellow, white, green, purple, blue, to be ourselves, to make of ourselves what we can make of ourselves, and be left alone by our government, well, pretty much now, and be able to live our lives and do what we want. And it's a very powerful thing to think about, because there's no other place like this in the world. We live and are citizens of truly the greatest place on earth.
Oh, God, yes. Amen.
Happy birthday, early America. May you forever last.
Great, great, great segment, Byron. Wow, that hits home, Mitchell. Really
Sure.
does. If you believe in this country in any form or regard, Michael, if that doesn't hit your heart, I don't know what will. And I don't know if you're really, 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 truly American and a citizen of this great country. I don't know how that just can't hit you right in the face,
It
right in the
should.
heart. And it should.
It should.
It should. Won't you lead us out, brother?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with final comments. Please take the time to read our founding documents to your children. They may not understand them at a young age, but the more you read them, the more the thoughts will be ingrained in their head that guess what? every single one of you, and it doesn't matter what color you are, American citizens that are listening to this inside of America, if you're citizens, and you were given a gift that we need to cherish and we need to protect, because there are people out there and there are forces out there that want to take them away from you. We need to protect this country from inside and from out.
Yeah, I was just going to ready say. Yep.
From inside and from out.
Yep.
God bless America. We will be right back with final comments after this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, back here with you with final comments. It's been a great show so far. I hope you really enjoyed it. Byron Bagwell, what a segment that was, Mitchell. That hit me right in the face. Every time he does that, every time we hear about this, it just hits me in the heart and in my face. And I serve this great country right along with Mr. Dave Holland. And I would go back and do it again and again and again, no matter what's going on right now. Because you know what? I love my people, and I love this country, and I love what this stands for right here. The people can't see it, but that's the
this minus the eagle.
The Eagles right
here. This,
but that great flag right there, and I tell you, Byron, you really brought that right to full bore right there. And I want to thank you for doing that. I know we only get to do this once a year, but you know what? We probably ought to do this, maybe some segments here and there every couple of months.
I would love to do that with some of our founding documents and some of the writings of our founding fathers. I want you to know this, and I want everybody else to know this. What just happened was not me.
No.
I'm just an orator. In other words,
you're the vessel.
I'm the vessel.
You're the vessel.
I speak.
Yeah, you're the vessel.
And I speak from knowledge. But I'm not the one that did this. Nope. I can't write that. There are very few men in history that could write that. Thomas Jefferson was once... This is one of the greatest quotes from Ronald Reagan ever. Ronald Reagan was once asked who was the greatest collection of minds ever to be assembled in, not the White House, but the Oval Office. The Oval Office. He was asked who he thought was the greatest assembly of men ever. He looked at the reporter and said, Thomas Jefferson, when he was alone. And it's the honest truth. The man was blindingly brilliant.
He was genius level.
He was a lawyer by the time he was like 17 years old.
17 years old. Yeah, yeah. I mean, who's going to become a lawyer, David, 17 years old? Back then. On top of that.
I know.
Who?
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some men
outstanding
in that group that had intelligence on that level. John Jay.
I think Ben Franklin did.
Madison.
Yeah, Madison.
Back in them days, you had to grow up.
Franklin was just out of this.
Franklin. You know, I guarantee you, there's a quote that people use about the edge between genius and insanity. I guarantee you, some people thought that Franklin crossed that line sometimes. Because, I mean, you know that people used to know all the time. I'm not sure all the kids know this anymore, about his experiments with lightning.
Oh, yeah.
He really did fly kites.
He did.
Into lightning storms and do that type of stuff with keys on them. He really did that type of stuff. He really invented instruments.
Yes, he did.
He invented something called a glass harmonica.
Yep.
Our founding fathers were brilliant men who understood that the rights of men had to be guaranteed through a government. They understood that government should be limited, and they understood that they should define the rights that we are granted by God, not government. Because men don't grant us our rights.
Nope.
They are given to us by men. They define what natural law and what God's law actually gives us. See, that's where a lot of people in this country have gone backwards now, because they believe our politicians give us our rights. Our politicians don't give us
nothing,
anything but written law of man, common law. And that's why the founders were so smart when they did. When they worked on the amendments that were in the original amendments that were in the Constitution, because they were granting us in the Bill of Rights our rights as defined by God. And people can go, how can God possibly want you to bear arms? Well, Jesus Christ once said, and I quote, "If you do not own a sword, sell your cloak and buy one."
Mm-hmm.
That is literally in the book of John.
Amen.
So,
all right, as we get ready to wrap up the show, I want to, David and Michael, if we can we go back to the weather one more time? Can you give us a quick weather report?
We can indeed. As a matter of fact, a quick check of the pollen shows that the numbers are on the decrease once again from all the rain we've had. Look for a number of pollen count to increase slightly as we get into Saturday, but for the most part, enjoy the rest of this week. It should be a decent one as far as the pollen goes. Now, as far as the rain goes, not so much. And unfortunately, we're the ones getting the bulk of it. The rest of the country is actually doing fairly well, at least for the southeastern part of the United States. Pascagoula, you're looking at partly cloudy skies with a chance of showers at 85 degrees, 86 degrees going from Atlanta all the way up to Nashville with a chance of showers. And, of course, Charlotte, beautiful conditions, but not so much in Florida. Chance of rain each and every day as we move through the rest of this week. The good news is we won't have temperatures in the 90s. We'll be holding in the mid to upper 80s as we go through the period with lows in the lower 70s, but a chance of showers and storms, some locally heavy, as we go through the rest of this week.
All right. Thank you, Michael, for that great weather report. As we wrap up tonight, we want to thank all of our sponsors and everyone who tuned in. Just a couple of quick things before we go. Your lovely mother, we missed something on the local. I didn't know. Jennifer Vaughn.
Jennifer Vaughn, she is retiring. Today was her last day at Stark Elementary. Of course, Mr. Terry Vaughn retired earlier.
Yep.
So we hope, well wishes to them on whatever endeavors they continue doing.
Setting up the front yard with the fire pits. What they're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. If you see pictures, congratulations on you guys' retirement. I want to wish Mary Rainbolt a happy 51st birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mary.
You really said that out loud.
I did. She wanted me to.
She said it? Okay.
She said it. Yep. So, thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment on that. I'm not going to read that.
Wait a minute. You'll read her age, but you won't read the compliment? Okay.
Well, why don't you read the compliment? I'm not going to read the compliment.
She said that you look really nice tonight.
Yeah.
Breaking news, folks. Our comments, there have been 4 different women, some of them slightly older than 51, who has made the comment that the haircut looks awfully good.
Why are you older than 51?
51.
Disclaimer, Mitchell Gunner and Byron Bagwell and David Rodgers and David Holland had nothing to do with that little right now.
I will tell you.
He was passing the message along.
No, I will tell you straight up that I was being honest. My mother is slightly older than 51.
Yeah.
But she complimented David and said, you look really good. The hair looks really nice.
Your mom did too, by the way.
Slightly older than 51.
Your mom complimented
I know, but he's still saying the slightly older.
I know. Well,
you haven't figured it out.
Anyway, do you got something real quick for you?
Yeah, I want to wish my dad a happy birthday.
Yes.
And
birthday.
I also want to say, Gwen Berry, if you do not like standing at attention for the national anthem at the Olympic trials and put a T-shirt over your face that says athletic activist, I think you should be removed from your Olympic duties going to Tokyo, and the fourth place person should resume your spot. I don't care what the White House says. Now, if it's against your religion, you should at least stand there at attention. You do not have to put your hand over your heart.
Right.
But what you've done was very disrespectful for this country and also for those in attendance.
By the way, I'm glad you said that because this was going to be my final thought. I want to leave you with this, and Michael will put it out there for a poll. I want to know how many of our viewers and just people out there on our Facebook pages are actually going to tune in to this year's Olympics. If you are, explain why.
Okay.
If you aren't, explain why you're not. I want to see these comments. I think it's a goofball type question, but I want Michael to put that out there, and I want to see response because I think I know what the answer is to that, and I don't want to let it go right now. I don't know if you're going to say.
I just got something to follow up with that.
Yeah.
You know, with these athletes coming over to Tokyo, or going over to Tokyo rather, and participating in the Olympics, they will not tolerate any support for any hate groups. They will not
That's right.
have any support like this Gwen Berry did. They will be automatically removed and dismedaled. And if it's good enough for the Olympic Committee, it should be good enough for the Olympic Trial Committee here in the United States.
Well, we'll see because I haven't seen any action yet, so we'll see to that. But anyway, we'll put that out there. I did want to say another thing. Jimmy Sparks, I will call you in the morning. He says he's got some news for us. I'll call him in the morning and find out. And did we miss anybody? David Rodgers, yep, I'll get back with you. People are saying, God bless the USA. Absolutely. Shirley, thank you very much. She loves the haircut. Look up Gilbert Lafayette, yeah, of France, and is part of the American Revolution.
The Marquis de Lafayette is who she's talking about.
Shirley says, remove our Olympic teams are despicable. People are saying, I want you to put that on our poll question. Michael will be putting that out there, and I'd like to see.
And I want to say, not all of our athletes
Absolutely
are
not.
like that.
No,
We've got some really great talented athletes that would not even think of doing what she had done on the podium. And I tell you what, I want to congratulate Grant Holloway.
Did he make it?
For making the Olympics. He ran a 12:85 in the 110 high hurdles. And our guest that we had on our show,
yes,
he did not make the Olympics.
So
I thought Andrew Riley will not be competing in the Tokyo Olympics for Jamaica.
Sorry to hear that, man. But he gave his heart, man. He gave it.
As long as you go there and you give your 110%, that's all you can do. You can't hang your head down about it.
I want to say a little bit of something about this. I've heard so many arguments that say that this country gives you the freedom to do what these athletes and, quite frankly, some of these other people do during the either the pledge. I've seen it in the pledge or the
playing of the national
anthem. You're right. You have the right to do that, and I have the right to believe that you are lower than pond scum for doing it.
And I don't have to watch it.
And I don't have. Guess what?
And I don't have to root for you.
I don't have to root for you, and I don't have to. Guess what?
Go out and buy their jersey
or anything else, and I don't have to tell anybody why, because guess what? That's my freedom too.
Yeah.
So we can do that, but I'm telling you, you can ask the NFL about it. And you can ask the NBA about it.
Yep, that I used to love and watch. All of us did.
You can ask about how much money they've lost because of that stupidity.
Yep,
a lot. That's what that is. That's stupidity.
All right, gentlemen.
If you don't like this great country, we have planes and boats that leave every day.
Absolutely.
You're welcome to leave.
All right.
Find a better place.
Yeah. On behalf. Oh, yes, Sharon. Yes, I did, Mary. Yes, Sharon, I never miss them either, but I may miss them this time. But anyway, on behalf of Byron Bagwell, Mr. Dave Holland, Mr. Michael Heater, Mr. Mitchell Gunner, myself, David Rodgers, no show Friday night. We'll have a winner on Tuesday night. Please join us back on Tuesday. As we wrap up tonight, we want to thank our sponsors and everyone who tuned in. And remember, we're on the spot, so you can be too. Good night, everybody. We're going to enjoy Miss Shirley's cake here. Sorry y'all can't have a piece, but hey, maybe one day we'll have a live audience in, Mike, and they'll be able to try a little piece of Shirley's cake.
I want everybody to do one thing for me.
Yep.
Say happy birthday to guess who?
Happy birthday
to the United
States of America. Happy birthday, United States of America. Happy 4th.
Night.
Be safe and be careful. Good night. God bless.